That Savannah Mayor Van Johnson is taking to the podium for his weekly press conference. So we'll go ahead and listen in.
Named Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center, while City Hall continues to undergo important renovations. These improvements are about making sure that City Hall can better serve our residents and staff for years to come. And we appreciate everyone's patience as that work continues. Happy Black History Month. As we know, February was defined and designated as Black History Month by Carter G. Woodson. But we recognize that Black history is American history, and we recognize that in a city as diverse as ours that we continue to celebrate everybody all year long. And so now we look at the contributions of African Americans and Black people to our nation, and so this is an opportunity to do that, and I look forward to talking about that a little later in my remarks. And for the second time in almost 2 years, really, Savannah saw snowfall, something that is extremely rare for our region. It was a beautiful sight to many. People were overjoyed. People were running outside in the snow that did not stay around. But we recognize for the city that snow and icy conditions present real challenges in a city that is not built for winter weather. I want to thank Team Savannah and our public works crews, our police and fire departments, our emergency management team, our utility and our community partners who monitored conditions with us, who treated priority routes, who coordinated resources, and helped keep residents informed. I also want to thank Savannah residents for doing what we asked them to do, exercising patience, checking on neighbors, and responding with common sense and care. Events like this remind us of the importance of preparedness, communication, and strong partnerships, and we will continue to evaluate how we respond to uncommon weather events to keep our community safe. We asked folks to stay off of the roads, and most folks did. We did have some incidents that occurred. I don't have a final count. I think for the first night it was 9 traffic events that we had. There were no serious injuries, so thank God for that. Last Thursday, Savannah was honored to welcome Victor Emmanuel Smith, Ghana's ambassador to the United States, to Savannah for a visit focused on strengthening economic, cultural, and educational ties between the country of Ghana and the greater Savannah region. Ambassador Smith headlined the inaugural Greater Savannah Ghana Business Forum, where he highlighted Ghana's role as a gateway to African trade and outlined opportunities in manufacturing, energy, agriculture, technology, and agribusiness. His visit included meetings with local leaders, a tour of the Savannah State University, the Georgia ports, and discussions with the World Trade Center Savannah to further explore opportunities for long-term educational and economic partnerships. As I've said before, Savannah is serious about our relationship with Ghana. I was there twice last year. We continue to build that through the Greater Savannah Ghana Alliance, which is headed by Dr. Pete Silver. We have a core group of Savannahans that are focused on helping us build that. We know that the new frontier is Africa. And as we continue to build relationships around the world, in Asia, in Europe, in the European Union, certainly we need to build them also in Africa. And so this visit really reaffirmed Savannah's growing global connections and our shared commitment to creating meaningful, mutual beneficial relationships that drive investment and learning and prosperity for our community and our international partners. So stay tuned, absolutely more to come. Later on today, I'll be traveling to Atlanta for Savannah Chatham Day at the Georgia State Capitol. This annual event is an important opportunity for city and county leaders to meet directly with state legislators and agency partners to advocate for the priorities that matter most to our community. How do I describe it? We just take over Atlanta. Savannah just goes and we just put the 912 on the 404. More than 750 regional leaders will be in Atlanta over the next 2 days alongside me, representing business, education, labor, transportation, and more to bring Savannah's priorities directly to state lawmakers. This trip is about advocating for what matters most to us: affordable housing, infrastructure, child care, public safety, and economic development that will help our city continue to grow responsibly. We get accused of a bunch of stuff that we have no control over. This is our opportunity to work toward the things that we don't have control over, particularly from our state partners, and help us to figure out ways to advance those goals. We have a great local legislative delegation, but we have to make these efforts to the entire General Assembly, the entire Senate, the entire House, and all of these agency representatives. And there is no type of advocacy like in-person advocacy. Last year, these efforts helped secure funding for a major regional water partnership between the state of Georgia, the city of Savannah, Effingham County, and Bryan County. And so this year, personally, I'm expanding my focus to ensure that key partners like Savannah State University, Chatham Area Transit, the Georgia ports, and our business community also have the support that they need while exploring state-funded opportunities to address issues that we face, like homelessness and protecting critical community resources. And just as important as we play offense, we also play defense. And so we'll push it back against any legislation that could negatively impact our residents. And so strong relationships at the state level translate into real results back home. And so I'm proud to represent Savannah alongside members of the City Council and city leadership to ensure that our needs and our priorities are clearly heard at the Capitol. And some of you all may be joining us in Atlanta, so as you'll see, it's a mess. It's a whole thing. It's just people everywhere. Literally, you walk into a room and you swear you're in Savannah, just like that. We just happen to be in Atlanta. And it's the hottest ticket of the year for the Georgia General Assembly, and all of them will tell you that. I'm also honored to share that I've been selected as a keynote speaker for the Southeast Georgia Leadership Forum that will take place later this month. This forum brings together leaders from across the region to discuss governance, collaboration, and regional growth. And so being invited to speak is a reflection not only of my role as mayor, but of the work that's happening in Savannah, how we approach leadership with intention, with transparency, and with accountability. And so I look forward to sharing my reflections, sharing Savannah's story, sharing lessons learned, and vision for inclusive progress with leaders from across Southeast Georgia. They always do a great job with that, and I'm glad to be able to take part in it this year. As I said before, as we begin the month of February, we also begin the celebration of Black History Month. And in Savannah, that history is not something that we look back on. It's something that we live, something that we honor, and something that we build upon every day. This city was shaped by Black excellence. It was shaped by Black labor. It was shaped by Black faith, Black creativity, and Black leadership. And it's not exclusive to us, but we certainly played a significant role in it. And it's important that we continue to tell those stories fully and proudly. Black history is American history. Black history is Savannah's history. And so we've tried very hard to make sure that in telling the story of our community, that we tell the entire story of our community, and we will continue to do that. The City of Savannah is honored to support the 37th annual Savannah Black Heritage Festival, which this year celebrates the theme, the tapestry of us. And so that theme speaks to the richness, to the diversity, and to the interconnectedness of Black experiences in Savannah and beyond. And so throughout the month of February, this festival will feature a wide range of events that highlight Black history, culture, education, music, art, and community. And so I encourage everyone, residents and visitors alike, to take part in these celebrations, bring the kids, and explore the full schedule of events by visiting www, if anybody does that anymore, SavannahBlackHeritageFestival.org, SavannahBlackHeritageFestival.org. And as a part of this greater and broader celebration, I also want to share an early preview of one of the month's signature events, which is the 4th annual Savannah Black Art Expo, which will take place on February the 21st, which is a Saturday from noon to 4 at the Otis S. Johnson Cultural Arts Center. This free, family-friendly event invites the community to support and shop from local Black artists, experience live performances from local talent, participate in interactive workshops like hip-hop and collage, and engage with Savannah's rich cultural history. At its core, Black History Month and events like the Black Heritage Festival and Art Expo remind us that honoring Black history is not just about remembrance, but it's about recognition, and it's about investment, and about celebration. And in Savannah, we don't celebrate and we don't separate our past from our progress. We weave them together, and that tapestry continues to grow stronger with every story told, every artist uplifted, every unsung hero raised, and every community member engaged. So we look forward to that. Also, I wanted to remind everyone and to inform you that you may have recently received a letter in the mail with the Savannah City logo on it, explaining our partnership with HomeServe, which is a leading provider of home repair solutions, serving nearly 5 million customers with more than 8.7 million protection plans across North America. And I want to be very clear about what this is and what it is not. The City of Savannah entered into this partnership with HomeServe, which is a partnership with the National League of Cities, of which Savannah is a member, to be able to provide warranty services for folks' homes. And the issue was really this, is that if you had a pipe that burst, for example, and it burst from the water line, from the water meter to the street, the City of Savannah comes in and we fix it. Oftentimes, we've had issues where it occurred from the water meter to the house. And in that case, the City of Savannah cannot fix it as private property. And so for years, we would have these situations where we would have little elderly ladies, people who were impoverished that had something occur to their property, and they just clearly did not have the means to be able to repair it. To have something happen underneath your house. And so we created an opportunity with the National League of Cities and with HomeServe USA as an opportunity to do that. So you pay a warranty, like protection, and so therefore, if something happens, then they come out and they fix it. And this is 100% voluntary. No one is required to enroll. Is simply an optional service being offered to our residents as a tool to help protect against the costs and the stress and the inconvenience of unexpected plumbing, water, and sewer line issues that can occur due to normal wear and tear. A HomeServe protection plan can help shield household budgets from major repair expenses. But again, participation is totally voluntary and totally your choice. If you don't want the service, you don't have to get the service. You just take the envelope and you just throw it in the trash. But for transparency, I will share that I was the first customer because I would not advocate for people to use stuff I didn't use myself. I was the first customer, and I personally used this coverage for both my residence and my investment properties. And I've used them. I remembered 2 years ago on Christmas Day, I had a pipe that burst at one of my investment properties. And it was cold outside, so the water was coming out and freezing at the same time. And I called. They came out. They fixed it. I didn't pay a dime. And they came out on Christmas Day to do this. So it works. I've tried it. And we're using local plumbers and local labor to get it done as best as we can, because I believe in giving people options and not mandates. So as always, our goal is to provide residents with information and opportunities that support home ownership and financial stability. We want to keep people in their homes, and we know that many people are really one disastrous issue away from being out of their homes. So part of affordable housing is making sure that people are able to stay in their homes. So if you have questions, take the time to review the materials and also determine what's right for you and what is right for your family. Also this month, the City of Savannah will host a series of open house meetings to engage residents on several major planning initiatives that will shape the future of our city. As you know, we like asking for input. We want to know what you think, and we're doing it again. And so these meetings will focus on the Canal District, which is over by the arena, the Civic Legacy Project, the Tricentennial Park, and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center renovation. Each meeting will be held in a drop-in open house format with a scheduled presentation, giving residents the opportunity to learn more, to ask questions, and provide meaningful input. The first meeting will take place on Tuesday, February the 17th at the Adams Administrative Building, and will focus on the future of the Canal District, which is an emerging area of downtown that is anchored by the in-market arena and surrounded by several historically African-American neighborhoods. And this session will explore redevelopment opportunities for city-owned land, including the historic Waterworks Pump House, and how future land use and investment can be guided in ways that reflect community needs and priorities. On Wednesday, February the 18th, the city will host a joint open house at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center, focused on the Civic Legacy Project and Tricentennial Park. And so this meeting will explain how these two areas are being planned as a connected and coordinated district. Residents will hear updates on how community feedback garnered through public meetings and surveys at the end of 2025 is shaping proposed plans for undeveloped land around the Civic Center, as well as future visions for Tricentennial Park, including mixed-use development, preservation of historic assets, museum integration, and long-term implementation strategies. The final open house will be held on Wednesday, February the 25th, also here at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center, and will focus specifically on where do we go from here on the Civic Center building renovation. Plans include a full renovation of the Johnny Mercer Theater, meeting rooms like this one, and the ballroom that's upstairs, along with the addition of new multi-purpose spaces to expand cultural, community, and event opportunities. City staff will share findings from market research, program analysis, and operational studies, and residents will be invited to provide feedback that will help guide the design and future use of this important community facility. So these meetings continue our commitment of not only transparent engagement and planning, but also making sure that we're building on recent community input efforts and the celebration surrounding the renaming and dedication of the Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center. Residents can find more information on these planning initiatives at savannahga.gov/planning. savannahga.gov/planning. And in addition to planning for our future, we're also continuing to invest on how we preserve and share our history. The city's Municipal Archives Department will host the second annual Hungry for History Student Showcase on May the 15th, 2026, providing college students the chance to present Savannah and Georgia-related historical research while gaining valuable public speaking experience. This event is open to students from colleges and universities in and around Savannah, including the Savannah State University, the Savannah College of Art and Design, Savannah Technical Colleges, and others, including students enrolled in online programs who live in the area. Students, including those graduating this year, are welcome to submit proposals now through the online application with a deadline of March the 15th at 5:00 p.m. Students will be notified of their proposal status by April the 15th. This initiative supports education, preservation, and the next generation of historians and storytellers. Full details and submission forms are available on the city's Municipal Archives webpage at savannahga.gov/municipal archives. savannahga.gov/municipal archives. And as always, we'll end our weekly press conference with our top 10 most wanted list that we update weekly to reflect the most dangerous individuals currently at large in our community. We have not made any progress in the last couple of weeks, so we need to really ramp this up. If you hear the name of someone you know, call us directly at 912-525-3124, 912-525-3124, or submit an anonymous tip on the Savannah Police Department mobile app. Or you can call my office at 912-651-6444, 912-651-6444, and y'all know I will tell. This week's list is as follows. We're still looking for Taisha Jackson for aggravated assault, Tyshawn Simmons for aggravated stalking and criminal trespassing, Malik Davis for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm, Corey Underwood for aggravated assault, Rictavius Gilliard for aggravated assault and aggravated stalking, Tobias Austin for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm, Anthony Brown for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm, Elenaxi Castillo, battery and cruelty to children, Timothy Patterson for rape and aggravated assault, Malik Williams for aggravated battery. Now, if these folks are in your family, they're making your family look bad. They just are. And I don't like calling their names every week, but we will call their names every week until they are apprehended. It is so much better if they hear their names or you hear their names for them to get their affairs in order, lawyer up, and come see us. But we're asking you, we know that people know, we want you to do your part in protecting our community. We know that public safety is a public responsibility, and so either you turn yourself in or your family and friends can turn you in. But as always, you can find this list at savannahpd.org/most wanted, savannahpd.org/most wanted. So that ends my prepared remarks. Thank you all for being here today. If you have questions, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can put your comments in the chat, your questions in the chat, and we will answer those after we get finished with our media partners. So if you're on Facebook at Mayor Johnson SAV, if you're on Instagram at Mayor Johnson SAV, or if you're on the City of Savannah, you can put your questions in the chat. If I can answer them, I will, and we'll get to those after our media partners. So let's get to it. Who's first? All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
WSAV.
Yes.
Tomorrow, you and other local leaders are heading to Atlanta to meet with state lawmakers. You said affordable housing and child care are top priorities. Specifically, what do you need the state to do that the city can't do on its own?
Well, I think the state can provide low-income tax credits to make it more profitable for developers, incentivize developers to invest in and build affordable housing. I think that's one. Then secondly, there are rules regarding child care. We know that you can have the best job in the world. We know you can have the best transportation in the world. We know you can have the best housing in the world. But if you don't have someone to take care of those kids, then that opportunity goes away. So we need to be able to find ways to incentivize child care rules that make sure that we have enough licensed people to take care of young people and do it in a way that's affordable. After you pay for housing, the next highest thing you have to pay for should not be child care. So I think that's something that's really, really important to us. Public transportation is extremely important to us, particularly with all that's been going on with Chatham Area Transit. We need the state's support to make sure that it remains viable here in this community. And then also infrastructure. Roads. We need to make sure that we have the things that we need, as we did with water last year, to make sure that Savannah remains viable and that we have the assistance in helping to do that.
And with the governor proposing new funding for homelessness response, how is Savannah positioning itself to try to secure some of those dollars?
We come to get that money. We want that money. Obviously, we're supportive of the governor's proposal. We recognize that Savannah is a hub city, and as a hub city, we have a continuum of care for homelessness. We recognize our surrounding communities don't, and we know that they send them to Savannah. Even South Carolina sends them to Savannah for services. So when people here complain about it, we just did our point in time count. I believe we just did it. It's not that we are not addressing the issue. It's just that when folks come to this region, they send them to Savannah. And so we would love that help to be able to provide those needed services to our residents, if they're just here temporarily, if they're here for long term, to help them be sustainable. The other issue is mental health services. The city does not provide mental health services. We recognize that if you're not okay, it's a community problem. And so we need people to be okay. And oftentimes it's therapy, it's medication, it's evaluation. And so lifting up and increasing the budget so those services are able to be provided will certainly help us in some of the work that we do. When we're doing law enforcement, sometimes it's people with mental health issues. And we recognize that our police are not mental health counselors, and our jail is not the mental health facility. And so I think the state can certainly help in that way.
Along with advocating for funding, you've also said you'll be pushing back on legislation you believe could hurt Savannah. What are you most concerned about right now?
We're always concerned about what's called preemption, the state taking away cities' abilities to govern for themselves. Obviously, we're the governments that are closest to the people. So we understand that our concerns may not be Atlanta's concerns, and so Atlanta's concerns may not be Athens' concerns, Athens' concerns may not be Augusta's concerns. So we believe that home rule gives us the ability to be able to effectively advocate and legislate for Savannah. And so we're always concerned about states' efforts to do that. Also, there are some proposals out there regarding taking away property taxes, which is very, very concerning to us for a couple of reasons. We certainly understand the state's desire to deal with issues of affordability, but taking away the property tax, which is the city's and county's major way of raising revenue, literally decimates local services. And so the police, the fire, the water services that we provide, which we can only make it through taxes and fees, then how do we provide those services? So, we want to make sure that the state is also considering local impacts for those types of proposals.
Right, and to wrap, last year treatment facility. How were you able to be successful in those conversations, and what lessons are you taking with you this year?
It's always relationships. It's always relationships, and it's not always right now relationships. We go there sometimes to harvest, and then we go sometimes to plant seeds. And oftentimes we're doing both. And so we've been talking about water. We've been talking about regional partnerships for a while. We planted those seeds before, but we were able to reap last year. And so we're doing the same thing, really planting the seeds. But the reality is that you can advocate by paper. It's not the same. When you look up and you see 750 Savannians in your place looking these legislators in the face, talking about the things that are important to them, I think that certainly makes an impact. And so that's why we go every year. We've been going for almost, I think, over 30 years now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
I want to ask about the major planning for the city. We talked about coordinating and connecting the Canal District with the Civic Center and remodeling that Civic Center. Can you talk about, what your vision might be for that planning and how you intend on setting out?
Well, I've made it a hallmark of my administration that we will plan with people and not for people, which is why we continuously every week make opportunities and overtures to our community to be able to engage with us either through a survey or through meetings or through drop-in opportunities. Ultimately, the council made a decision to deconstruct the arena. We're in a meeting room like this right now. I would like to see more of these. These are multi-use spaces. They can be used for a variety of things. They're dividable, so that provides some opportunities. I would love to see multi-ballrooms on the third floor, where you could have one huge ballroom or you can have 3 or 4 events going on at one time. This really provides equity because it is quality space for people to be able to afford to have their special event, whether it's a community event or a wedding or a party or reception. That provides that type of space. And then certainly biggest of all is the renovation of the Johnny Mercer Theater. Premier space, 2,700 seats or so in the Johnny Mercer Theater. It has really seen and it withstood the test of time, really creating that into even more quality space in terms of green rooms, technology, booths, suites, really creating that space that will last us easily for the next 50 years. So a lot of things, changing the orientation of how this building is set up. We have a lot of unused space. We have a whole porch that is totally underused. We have a whole lot of space from the Civic Center to Oglethorpe that is unused. So I think it's a lot of opportunities, and so my vision is really to engage the community in a way that has not been available since 50 years ago, to be able to see what we're going to look like for the future.
And then talking about affordable housing being one of your kind of priorities going into Atlanta Day, or Savannah in Atlanta Day, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think, is going to be your focus on that? I know that, Yamacraw is undergoing its demolition. There are the Fraser homes. There is the new affordable housing that is an option for what's to come of the Civic Center, the MLK Arena. How exactly do you envision maybe getting some funds for the affordable housing? Where would that exactly go to?
Well, Yamacraw, Fraser homes are public housing. That's federal money through the Housing and Urban Development departments of the federal government. So it's not what we're really talking about. We're really talking about empowering cities to be able to have the financial and legislative tools to be able to create affordable housing. I talked a little bit about the low-income housing tax credits. It makes it profitable and attractive for developers to engage in that space. When you build affordable housing, what people don't often realize is if I build a house, I build 2 houses, it costs the same amount to build the house. And so the mortgage or the rent for that house reflects the cost to build that house. what makes it affordable is the tax credits that developers can then get back. So now they make their money from the tax credits and not from the cost of the house, which they're able to make the house affordable. And so that's what the issue is. When we ask developers, build affordable housing, well, when we ask them to build affordable housing, if nothing changes, they lose money off that. Nobody gets in business to lose money. And if you're losing money, you're not going to stay in business. So, we think that, affordability is top of mind at the state. We think that communities across the state, not just Savannah, are dealing with severe affordability issues. And if Savannah is going to be competitive, if Georgia is going to be competitive, if we're going to continue to be the best state in which to do business, then we're going to have affordable, quality places for people to live. Or we're not going to be able to attract people here or keep them here.
Thank you. And my last thing, Black History Month, as the president of the African American Mayors Association, I gotta imagine that makes it a little bit better of a month to, spread the news. But also, I heard you guys joined the NAACP recently. Can you talk about that and how this month plays out?
Sure. Last week I was in Washington, D.C. The African American Mayors Association signed a memorandum of agreement with the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And this is just an agreement to work together. The fact is that the NAACP, although formed for black folks, really is now for everybody. It's for civil rights. And the African American Mayors Association, which represents over 500 mayors from across the country, are dealing with issues of civil rights in their communities. And so we recognize that we have shared visions, we have shared goals, and opportunities to work together. Almost all of us have branches within our cities, and so this creates an opportunity for mayors to work with the NAACP chapters, to communicate with them, and certainly to collaborate where they can. And so we're excited about that. We believe that collaboration is the key to success. And so I was glad to be there with Derek Johnson, who is the CEO of the NAACP, to sign that historic memorandum of agreement. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, sir.
Chris White, WJCL.
Yes, Chris.
For tomorrow, you talked about pushing back against legislation that may hurt residents. There's the Senate bill that passed against the Savannah gun ordinance. As far as I'm aware, it's still awaiting the governor's signature. Mm-hmm. Will you be able to talk with the governor or anybody with their office to advocate against signing that?
If there's opportunity for a conversation, I certainly will do that. I think the challenge is, the governor has not signed it. So the reality is that we wanted to tailor it specifically to ensure that we were not violating anyone's rights. We are regulating a car, and the reality is that you can't argue with the fact that 100 less guns were stolen from cars in Savannah in 2025 than in 2024. That is 100 less opportunities for someone to have their hands on a gun that's been illegally obtained, 100 less opportunities for someone to be shot with that gun that's been obtained illegally, simply by locking your cars. And we recognize that more than having a punitive effect, it has had an educative effect, because people just said, "Oh, I don't want to get cited, so let me lock my car, let me take my gun with me." So, I'm hoping that the governor sees what we are trying to do. We can't talk about violent crime in cities across Georgia and then not assist cities in ways to be able to deal with it. You can't arrest people all on the back end. You have to take away the opportunities on the front end.
You posted this crime statistics to your social media.
Lift it up again.
I'm sorry. It says 2025 crime statistics.
Yes.
And many of these are down. Homicides are up. Street robberies are up. So what?
Homicides were down. We were 28, I think.
You're up 28. 2024 was
25, and then the year before it was 28 or something.
28 as well.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, you're up a little bit there. You're up a little bit in street robberies, but the other ones are down. So what in the past year has worked to bring crime down, but these street robberies, homicides are up. What can be done to try and mitigate that?
Again, I think, it's very difficult for us to control people's dumb decisions. I think the Savannah Police Department and our community have done a wonderful job working together. I think the top 10 has helped. But we also need help from our prosecutorial and our judicial partners. We have said unequivocally that violent crimes, particularly trigger pullers, will not be tolerated in our community. Our police department is arresting them at a clip that is better than the federal average. We just need to make sure that they go away for a long time. There has to be a consequence, and that's why we hired a federal prosecutor to be able to prosecute gun crimes and gang crimes at a federal level if it raises to that standard. Because the reality is nobody wants to be charged federally. Why? Because when you go on Fed time, you go away for real. And we need to send that same message that if you want to play froggy and you want to play dumb games, then you're going to win a dumb prize because you're going to go away from this community from a very long time. It is very, very disheartening, distressing, not only to our police department, but also our neighbors when they know someone that was arrested of a violent crime and then they're out on bond to do that again, or they are arrested and they're in jail and then they're right out again. And so I think, again, we have to send a very, very clear, very, very strong, very, very consistent message so that if people are making a conscious choice to engage in that, then something significant happens to them, to include those that are felons, that have guns, that should not have guns.
You just mentioned gun crimes and gang crimes. 6 people involved in the Oglethorpe Mall shooting will be in court tomorrow.
Yep.
Do you have any updates on that?
Nope.
Anything to say about that?
No, I know one of them we're charging federally because of the weapon that they used. I think, this highlights what I was saying about community participation and law enforcement response. All 6 involved are in custody. All 6 involved will face a judge. And so I think, again, we're very, very serious about this. Folks went stealing out of Best Buy. Well, guess what? We got them. This is this community saying very, very clear, stop this crap. Don't do it here. Again, we just need to make sure that the criminal justice system that we don't control shares our thoughts about making sure that, people go away for a long time. Again, I'm for second chances, I'm for diversion programs, but I think this community has zero tolerance and should have zero tolerance for violent crimes.
And then finally, is there any update on the River Street shooting? Have you been able to get anything from GBI? Do you know where Mr. Whitney was able to get his gun at this point?
I do not. Again, I've asked the community to continue to be patient. The GBI usually is pretty efficient in these things. I know that there are a variety of ballistics tests and camera footage that has to be reviewed. I believe they released their findings to the district attorney and not us. And so once we know that they've completed their review, I'll make sure to let you know. All right, thank you. Nakia, really?
It's a newsroom question.
No, tell them, no. You tell them if they want to ask, don't have you doing their work for them. Who's asking? I want to know who's asking.
I'll tell you afterwards. So we want to ask about the recent arrest of a Savannah man in connection with multiple stalking charges. Since that arrest, investigators say dozens of potential victims have come forward. Investigators have released videos showing him outside an apartment, allegedly trying to contact a woman who lives there. For residents who may be concerned after seeing that video circulate, what reassurance can you offer about public safety right now?
He's in custody. He's in custody. And again, we need people to come forward beforehand. Coming forward afterhand helps with the prosecution of that individual. But if it's not right, if it doesn't seem right, let us know, because we can't address what we don't know about. And so obviously we are happy that this young man has been taken into custody. And again, we don't want to tolerate that type of behavior anywhere. And I hope this individual remains off the streets for quite some time.
Last extra one from me.
From the newsroom?
Yeah. Do you have any update on the Best Buy group that's still there? You know, what's the latest that you've heard regarding that?
I've heard unofficially and really through news reports that that there were some inside factors that were engaged in this, but individuals that we posted were identified and were in custody. They might have been released on bond or something, but that they were apprehended, as last I heard. Thank you. Anything? All right. Well, again, it's still a little cooler. It'll get a little warmer this week, and hopefully, you know, the worst of our cold is behind us. We want to thank you all so much for being with us. We want to thank you so much for giving us a part of your day. Like this video, share this video on Instagram and on Facebook. And as always, thank you all for being Savannah Strong.